And welcome back to our show. We are at it again. That's right. We are at another 78-hour fast, 72-hour fast, and we are at right now a little over 48 hours. If you're joining me, you are in for a treat because we're going to get to see what's going on with my blood sugars. We're going to take a look at what's been happening over the last several days as we continue our amazing trek through limitless living. This week we've been talking about how community and how the social/relational parts of our lives can influence how our metabolism works. And we're going to continue that discussion and I'm going to answer questions for you that you have about fasting. If you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's welcome. I welcome you to this space. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we are living limitless lives. And limitless living says that we are not allowing anything outside or anything from inside of us to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful in the metabolic space. We are breaking through the barriers. We are getting out of those confinements, and we are presenting our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for our lives. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. That's what we're doing here right now, and we're glad that you've joined us. If you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. That's right, and let you know that I'm excited that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments because I do want to get to those as we get through our episode tonight. And as you know how we do, I've got sitting over next to me here my glucose monitor. And let me go ahead and pop over. So I've got my Keto Mojo monitor that we're going to take a look at right now in a little while. And also down below me, that is the Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at to see what's been going on specifically with some of my blood sugars over the last several days as we've kind of walked through that process. So what are we doing? What are we doing? That's right. You're asking the question, what's going on? And so we are in the process right now. We're in the process of walking through the limitless living pathway. And this is a pathway that allows us to address those metabolic diseases that you are so familiar with. What is a metabolic disease? Well, what is metabolism? First of all, metabolism is the process that the body uses to take food that we eat, food and nutrients, and converts it to energy so that our body can function. That's what metabolism is. And at the heart of many of our chronic diseases, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, polycystic ovarian syndrome, diabetes, of course, pre-diabetes, all of those are spectrum or diseases on the spectrum of metabolism. And so what we're doing is we are walking down the pathway to say, how do we attack? How do we reverse? How do we improve those disease processes? And ultimately, how do we reverse our diabetes? That's right. That's what we're working on, reversing diabetes. Because if we can do that, then we can extrapolate that across all of those diseases that I just mentioned so that we can have improvement and we can prevent the progression on the way to diabetes and all the complications that come along with them. And so here on the channel, we educate, we empower, and we encourage. On our main show on Monday, we are walking down that pathway. And then as we do our check-ins, we are talking about the tools that we're learning and how can we put those in place and how can we have the best results possible. And one of the major tools that we use is the tool of fasting. Remember the pillars of reversing diabetes: decrease insulin, suppress the appetite, and reduce sugar. And fasting hits all of those tools. This week we've been talking about one of those domains, and the domain that we've been dealing with this week is the social/relational domain. When we are dealing with metabolism, we're looking at all the places where we are having an impact, or life can have an impact on our metabolism. And we've talked about the several domains. We'll bring that up here in a little while. But this week we're talking about how the social and relational, our relationships can have a big impact on our diabetes and on our metabolism. So we'll take a look at our reports. We'll say hi. I do see community members out there, so we'll say hi to you in just a minute. And as we're walking through this path, I am right now at a little bit over 48 hours of fasting. I typically do a 72-hour fast once a week, and that is with the intention that I'm improving my personal metabolism, and then that allows me to demonstrate for you as we're walking through this path also what is going on with my blood sugars, so that you, as you are fasting or as you are trying to improve your metabolism, you can see what is possible with the space. Last week we were here and we did we actually broke our fast here on the show, which we're actually going to do tomorrow again. We'll break the fast here on the show. So if you want to see what I'm going to eat, come on back. As a matter of fact, if you have some suggestions, because I think someone in one of our in one of the posts said to me that, hey, the stuff you ate last week, it was, and I think the comment they made that it was all processed foods, right? Because I had chickpeas, which was from a can. I had, or garbanzo bean, that's the name for it. I had sausage, and then I had the broth that I had made. So they said, hey, all that stuff that you had, they were all processed food. They weren't totally natural. So if you have an idea, if you think there's something that you want me to eat, now's the time to put it in, because tomorrow I'm going to come back with my stuff that I'm going to eat. I don't know what it's going to be yet, so I'm going to use what you tell me, and we'll bring that on, and we'll eat that here on the show as we break the fast. So if you have an idea, go ahead and drop it in the comment, and if we can do it, so don't put something crazy, right? As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I cooked earlier this week, so I do have some stuff I can eat. But if you think you have something that you want me to try to eat here on the show as I break my fast tomorrow, go ahead and drop those in. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to do my check-in. So when I come on, I want you to know how I'm feeling. There are several places that people will talk about fasting, and these are the places where in fasting they tend to have the most difficulty. Now, as I go through this, you will realize that these are actually three of the top domains that we talk about when we talked about the domains of health, right? That's the physical, the mental, and the emotional. If you think, though, about the things that we do when we are trying to improve, when we're trying to grow, when we're trying to expand ourselves, when we're training, when we are in a relationship, the three places where we tend to have the most difficulty is how we are doing physically, how we're doing emotionally, how we're doing mentally. So as we talk through this is not a new thing, but we are applying it now into this space. But you can take this and you can go to several areas of your life, and you can see that these also are some of the top things that we should be looking at. So whenever you're trying to evaluate, whenever you're trying to change, whenever you're trying to improve, I want you to get into the process of looking at these areas as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at as I do my check-in here. And yeah, there we are. So physically. So when we talk about physically, there are several places or several things that people will say when we talk about the physical aspect of their experience. And that has to do with how they are feeling, whether they're lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. Sometimes people will say that they feel as though they have just lost all their energy, that they are walking through quicksand or walking through mud, like they're cement on their feet because they're going through the day and they hit a wall, right? So those are things that people will say, not just as it relates to fasting, but specifically here in fasting, that's what we're talking about. So right now, I'm not feeling any of that for several reasons. One of the big reasons is that I just finished having our community meetup for this month. We usually meet once a month on the fourth Thursday, and we just had that, and it was an amazing conversation. And so I'm already pumped from that. So even if there were a bit of fatigue, that's gone, right? Because you guys know when I'm here, you can actually plug a light bulb into me and I'll light up and the light bulb would light up because I get that energy from being in this space with you. But even before that, even prior to that, was not feeling any of that. Okay, so I have been doing a good job of resting. As a matter of fact, last night after our show, after our check-in, I was planning to do some work because it was late, and I actually fell asleep right here, y'all. So I laid down right here, and I woke up. I was like, "Wait a minute, what am I doing?" And so went into my bedroom, and I got good sleep. So I last night was not one of those where I stayed up late. No, my body's like, "Okay, dude, let's go to sleep." And if you're not gonna go to the room, I'm putting you to sleep right here. So we did that. We slept there. Actually, I think I woke up about 3:30 in the morning and went to my bed. So feeling rested. The other thing is that I am hydrating, right? So I'm doing a good job of hydrating. There it is. And so when you hydrate, I'm not feeling that. I told you guys about palpitation. So when the volume in the body drops, in order for the body to keep doing the same thing, getting the same energy, getting the same amount of nutrients, taking away the waste products from our body, then it has to increase the speed. And so your blood pressure goes up, the heart rate goes up, and it feels as though things are racing. Okay, but right now I'm not feeling any of that because I'm hydrating and I'm rested, so doing well. And then our mentation, so thought process. As the energy goes, as the fatigue goes, so goes our thought process. When you are fatigued, when you're tired, it is hard for you to process. And so sometimes people will say they feel as though they're in a fog, they feel fuzzy-headed, they feel as though their thought processes are not working well. So all of that happens a lot of times because of the fatigue. And right now I am feeling clear. I had a great day today. Actually, I had a great week at work. I am excited for the weekend coming up. I am excited because of the community. I'm excited for my personal growth. I'm excited there's so many things to be excited. And so mentally, I'm feeling pumped. And that now carries into the emotional. Now look at the cascade, right? So all of these, and sometimes when we talk about the domains of health, we talk about them as though they are separate. But I want you to know that they all intertwine so that they touch each other. So as we've been walking through this pathway, we've been talking about each one in isolation, right? We've made comments about the other, but when you see that diagram, those diagrams actually can overlap. So that how I'm feeling emotionally now is a direct result of the fact that I'm feeling good physically. My thought processes are clear. And remember, the mental part of our health is what directs us, because the way we see the world has everything to do with what's going on in our mental health. So right now, physically, mentally, emotionally doing well. If you saw my check-in from last week, some of those check-ins, I was feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, right? Because I realized that I was not doing a good job of hydrating last week. This week, so I deliberately am doing a good job this week. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead now and let's hop over and take a look at my blood sugars. And first, let's take a look right here. This is what my Libre says that my blood sugar is right now. And that is 65. And you'll see right here, right about here. Yeah, right about there. My blood sugar, the squiggly line that has the white part and then the red at the end, that's what my blood sugar has been for most of today. And it has been for, starting around 4 o'clock, it's been below 70. And starting early this morning to about 4 o'clock, has been straddling right at above 70. Right. So right now it's 66, as you see there. Let's go ahead and take a look at my Dexcom. And so the Dexcom, this is a 24-hour look, and I had to change it this morning. So right in here, Right, so that's where my Dexcom went out, and I didn't put on, well, actually, I put on a new one and it didn't take, so I actually had to get another one. And so I'm not sure what was going on with it, but right in there is when it finally came back, and you'll see there we've been straddling the low. Let's see, what's the highest that it got? So right there, maybe 109. 109 was the highest for today, and then kind of coming back down into the 80s that you see right now. The other thing that we're going to do is go ahead and take a look at, this is my Keto Mojo. I don't have my contour, but we'll take a look at this here to see what that is. And I have 2 strips. You see that? I have 2 ketone strips because I've been having some issues with that. So let me go ahead and grab, let me get a, this is my Lancet. And let's go ahead and take this. Actually, let me open this first. So I'm going to have, this is the brown one is for my blood sugar. Let's get that out. Get that out there, we'll put it. And then both of these are, as a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Since this is from the same batch, I'm going to use this one. Put that down. And then I'm going to go back into my container and get one of these from down below. And this, I'm hoping that this is from the batch that wasn't giving us any trouble. All right, so there we are. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do a ketone first, then I'm going to do a test strip, then I'm going to do another ketone. Should I do that or just do blood sugar first? Yeah, why don't we do it? I'm going to do blood sugar first. I've changed. Hey, I have the prerogative to do that, right? All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. And so I'm going to need 3 good drops of blood. So I'm just finding a spot. And let's get that in. And I'm hoping that that gives me a good flow. All right, and I got a flow, but not a very good one. Oh, come on, no. I was hoping. Okay, so I'm going, let me see. I'm going to give it a minute. Okay, let me take this out. Okay, and I'm going to just dry that off, and I'm going to find another spot. Oh, I think I see what happens. Let me show you. So look at, there's the, you see that? So the needle is bent. Yeah, so it didn't go all the way in. Okay. All right, so let's get another one. And so that's what happens, you know, because my fingers are calloused. Well, not calloused. Let me say that. So okay, let me see that one. Okay. So that, oh, is that bent also? Wow, what's going on with these? All right. Maybe third time's a charm. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So that one. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that one should be good. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna go a different spot. Okay. Ow, yeah, this. Okay. Ow, 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 ow. I think that one. Yeah, should give me a good. Yeah, there we go. See how brisk that flow was. Let's go ahead and get that started. All right. Okay, so that's 1. And I need 3 drops, so let's go ahead and keep that going. 3, 2, 1. So blood sugar of 75. Let's go ahead and pop this back up so you can see. 75. Let's get one of these strips in. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And get that going. Get that started. Okay, and I think I already see someone giving a guess. It's 1.6 is what they say. And so we're just going to go through this so you guys get to see this right here, real time. Okay, so that one says 0.1, which I don't believe. Let's get another strip. Get another one and get that started. And This one better be something better. And 2 and 1 and 0.1. Look at that, y'all. Isn't that crazy? And so we are now at a little over 48 hours. Okay. Okay, let's see if I can get one more drop or one more from this drop, because I can feel it already starting to dry. Okay, so that'll be our last one. If this one says 0.1, then we'll say, okay, we've got some issues going on with this monitor. All right, so and 0.1, yeah, so 0.1. All right, so we'll kind of come back to that, but you'll see right there, blood sugar of 87, 66, 65 is what the keto mode, Freestyle Libre is saying, and we'll take a look at that. So let's hop over and let's have, let's see and say hello to some of our community members. And let's see, we've got Miss Cornelia out there. Hey, Cornelia, how are you doing? Cornelia is saying hello. Pam is saying hello. Steve says hello, Cornelia and Pam. Pam says hi, Steve. Hi, Steve and Pam. Hi, Doc. From Gian. Hi, Cornelia. Hey, Gian. Hi, Pam. Hi, Pam. Gian guess was 1.6. And yes, Cornelia, she says 0.1 just right, really doesn't seem right. I know, particularly since my blood sugar is 64, right? You need to come proper with that. So anyway, there's a whole nother, yeah. So so Steve, I actually on the way home was gonna stop by and pick up one of the Walmart ones, but I didn't get to do that. But I'm gonna do that. Yeah, so that's kind of a weird thing. Anyway, so let's go in and let's hop in. Now, what I want to do is I want you, if you're out there, if you've got specific questions, right? So as I walk through some of our comments tonight, if you have specific questions, go ahead and start putting those in. And specific questions about fasting, specific questions about the interplay with fasting, and we talked yesterday about oxytocin and connection. We talked about stress management and fasting. And so what I want to do is I want to spend a few minutes talking particularly about those two hormones, right? Oxytocin and cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and tie that back to what we've been talking about for today or for this week. This week we've been heavily talking about that domain, and let me just go ahead and put that up again so that you remember that we are walking through the domains of health, right? Spiritually, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. We did the social / relational, and I said I'm going to add the relational part, because right now we talk about social, but it should be social / relational, and I'll make that adjustment. But that's what we've been talking about, how the social aspect, how the social health revolves around everything, and everything affects the social health. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and have that conversation. So I want to talk first about the hormones, and when we talk about hormones, often people think about the sex hormones. They think about estrogen, they think about testosterone. But endocrinology, which is what I do, I'm an endocrinologist, is the study of hormones. And hormones are not just estrogen and testosterone. When we talk about thyroid, the thyroid hormone, that's the name of it, thyroid hormone. The thyroid is a gland. So anytime there is a gland in the body, and that gland is producing a substance that's called a hormone, because the hormone is traveling from a particular space to another space in the body and having an effect. So that when testosterone comes out, Testosterone travels around the body, and it causes different effects. For example, in guys, it causes hair growth in certain places. All right, so that's testosterone. Estrogen travels, and it causes certain changes in a female body. When we have thyroid, the thyroid hormone that comes from the thyroid, which is kind of like thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland that's in the neck. When that thyroid gives off its substance, that hormone travels through the body and has an effect in a different place. Does that make sense? Awesome. So oxytocin and cortisol likewise are hormones. So they are produced in one place, and then they travel through the body, and they have specific effects in different parts of the body. And we've talked at length about cortisol, because cortisol is the stress hormone. Cortisol is the active arm of stress. So when you become stressed, then there are two major hormones that come out: epinephrine, which prepares the body, and then cortisol, which goes and gets the energy that the body needs to do what it needs to do. For example, that fight or flight response, that is, we're fighting. In order to fight, the body, epinephrine prepares the body to fight, and cortisol gives it the energy that it needs to throw a punch. That's the fight. Or the flight, that's running. If you need to run, then your muscles need energy. And so epinephrine comes out. It says, hey, I see a tiger. We need to run. So it gets the muscles ready. And then cortisol goes out, finds the energy, dumps it into the muscles, and the muscles take off. So that's an idea of the hormones. So likewise, oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It is the one that's responsible for mom and baby getting that connection. It's responsible when we talk about mom snuggling with baby. One of the reasons for that is that this oxytocin, when it comes out, oxytocin, it promotes the bonding between a mom and a baby. When we are in community, that same process stimulates oxytocin release, and so that in community we have connection. That's the beauty of oxytocin. When oxytocin comes out, oxytocin helps to relieve our stress level. It lowers the stress hormone because oxytocin makes us feel safe. The reason I'm excited is because in our community meetup today, we talked about safety. And safety comes when, or feeling of safety can come, I shouldn't say it comes. It can come when we are in community, when there's connection, and when we feel safe, then our desire to find safety elsewhere decreases. Which is why, when you have community, when oxytocin is there, when there's that feeling of safety, then you don't have to buffer with food. When there's safety, when I feel settled, when I don't feel anxious, when I don't feel like there's a tiger chasing me all the time, when I don't feel like there's a lion on my heels, when there's safety, then I don't have to find something else to make me feel safe because it is innate in where I am. And that's the beauty of community. Community allows us to build up, to elevate our oxytocin levels. And so the food that's there, and I'm looking over there, but I don't have any food. So, right? The food that's there does not have the same appeal. Right? Remember, habits, emotions, access, and taste. Emotions and taste, right? Those two right there are huge when it comes to the interplay of community and food. Because remember that the taste that we get, the taste that comes from the food, has everything to do with connection and safety and feeling warm. Because we remember what it was like when mama made that thing for us. We remember what it was like when we were growing up and we used to go over to grandma's house, who's no longer with us. And when we walked in, she would help us. She would make treats, right? She'd pull you in the kitchen, even though you didn't want to go. Now, here's the thing. Oh, come on. So there are times when we were with someone, say grandma, mama, daddy, and they were doing things with us that we didn't want to do because we were kids. We didn't want to go in the kitchen and cook. We didn't want to be in that space. But mom made us come in the kitchen and she made us learn how to make that thing. And she made us learn how to do this. And grandma, when we went over there, she pinched our cheeks and she pulled us into the kitchen. Or grandpa, right? The things that he did when he took us fishing. We got up early in the morning. We're sitting on that boat. We didn't catch anything all day. And while we were in that boat, he had that sandwich that he had made just that way, where he put that particular whatever it was on it. Whether it was some cold cuts, he made some peanut butter and jelly. And so now, years later, even though we hated at the time being out there on the boat, even though we hated having to be pulled into the kitchen, years later, whenever we see a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, we can't not eat it. Because you know why? It gives us the connection to grandpa. It gives us the connection to mama. It gives us the connection to grandma. That's oxytocin right there. And the same thing can come from community. So when there's community and the oxytocin is there, then we are able to be more resilient. Resilient is the ability to bounce back. I was talking recently, and I was trying to remember the little, the it's not a bobble, it's not a bobblehead. The punching bag. That's right, punching bag. You know the thing that has I guess it has sand or water in the bottom, and you hit it, boom, and it goes down, and it comes back, and you hit it, bam, and it goes down, and it comes up, boop. And you hit it, boom, and it goes down, and it comes back. That right there is a perfect example of resilience. Now, I want you to notice some things. Resilience doesn't say that I'm not going to get knocked down. It doesn't say that I'm not going to eat something when I'm supposed to be fasting. It doesn't say that I won't have a challenging start to the fast. It doesn't say that I'm not going to have cravings. It doesn't say that I am not going to see somebody doing something somewhere, eating somewhere, getting up to go do something, and I am going to have difficulty maintaining the fast. That's not what it says. Resilience says that even when I get knocked down, even when I eat that, I'm going to pick on one of our community members, that 4-layer cake, even when I eat the donut, even when I have the Cadbury, help me, Cadbury. See, I mentioned it and my brain just went. Resilience says that even when that happens, that doesn't stop me. And when we are in community, those things that we do, those things that knock us down, we're able to bounce back better. We're able to bounce back easier. Because the community, the oxytocin, gives us safety. Gives us safety. But when we're not in community and we're trying to do that by ourselves, when we're not in community and we don't feel safe, when we're not in community and we have not developed the resilience, then when we get knocked down, It's more like the punching bag that's hanging from the ceiling and you hit it and something breaks and it falls. There's no bounce back. But oxytocin, that connection, that is amazing. And that comes from community. I gave the example in our community meetup earlier tonight that when I was young, we lived in a very small apartment. It was me and my 3 sisters. I was the only boy. Yeah, help me, Jesus. That was before the other boys came. So there are a total of 6 of us now, right? So 3 boys, 3 girls. But for a long time, I was the only boy. So it was the 3 of them, and then me, and then I have 2 brothers below me. Well, 2 brothers below my sisters. But we lived in a small apartment. Mom, dad, 4 kids, uncle. And when we think back to a lot of what we call, we say the good times, right? So we kind of date ourselves with 2 things. Where we moved from the apartment, we moved to a house, and we had a relatively good sized house because I had my room, my older sister had her room. We have twins in the family, so they had a room. Mom, dad, uncle was upstairs. Anyway, so we had we had a basement, a first floor, second floor, and an attic, right? So right, so a lot of space. And so when we had the space, it was great. But you know some of the things that me and my sisters think about? It wasn't necessarily the house. It was the time when we were in that room, the 4 of us in the one room. Because there was the connection. There was the bonding. There was the oxytocin that was coming out. And so in our space, in this space, when we are talking about how do we maintain, how do we get to, how do we do the things, how do we, all of that, it is with the community, the power of community that comes. And so there are a couple of things that we talked about that I want to review in how we can do community. And how I recommend that you do community as you're fasting. And lots of different ways to do it, but these are some recommendations. Number 1, the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we are understanding that this is a work in progress. That we are a work in progress, and the people around us are a work in progress. That while we want, and for example, if you're saying I'm going to fast 72 hours, yeah, 72 hours, great, but you may end up at 70 hours or 69 hours or 58 hours. But it's a work in progress. I don't have to be perfect. I'm working to get to 72, but this is where I am. And so we all start where we are. And as you are forming support groups, as you're forming, which we'll talk about here in a minute, as we're forming those fasting buddies, and I encourage you to do that, right? Understand that we're all work in progress, number 1. Number 2, find someone to be your fasting buddy. Now, it can be relatively easy to fast by yourself, great. But you get so much more value, so much more richness when you are fasting in community. So find someone. If you're not part of our group, then find a group. Make a group where you are. Join our membership. Get into our community and find someone that's going to be your fasting buddy. And that is, we're checking in with each other. Hey, how are you doing? And here's the thing. The fasting buddy, you guys may be doing great. Like there are some of you right now that are doing 36 hours, 72 hours. Some of you are doing 1 meal a day and you're having a great time with it. You're doing it all by yourself. Great. how much better would it be in community? Right? So find a fasting buddy. Number three, plan some things together. Say, hey, we're going to start fasting on this such and such. Hey, let's break the fast together. Let's do and one of the big ideas is let's do a Zoom and let's eat together. In fact, what we may do is you guys tell me if this is a great idea. Is just have a Zoom here, or just have a on the show where you all come on. Some of you come on, and we all are sharing what we're eating while we're breaking the fast. You guys get to see me. I want to get to see some of the stuff you're eating too. As a matter of fact, there's some folks out there that I want some of what you have. Like Steve, I'm always saying that I want what Steve has, because Steve, he looks like he has some good stuff when he breaks his fast. Okay. So plan some of those. Make this a process, so it's not static. I was sharing just today on limitless living. Remember, limitless living says that we're not allowing anything from outside or inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful. We're presenting our best self, our best health, our best plans for our lives, right? That's limitless living. And so I remember when I was several weeks ago, not several, but a few weeks ago when we were going away, someone asked me, they said, are you going to fast on your trip? In other words, are you going to do this thing when you go on the trip? And the thought is that, this what I'm doing right here, this is my normal life. And then when I go on the trip, I'm going to step outside of my normal life and do something. And then when I finish with my trip, when I come back, I'll step back into my normal life, right? That's the idea. But I want to say to you, but that's not it at all. Because this that I'm doing is the vehicle that's taking me everywhere. So it's not like I take off a suit and put on another one and then I put the suit back on. Limitless living is a lifestyle. And with the lifestyle, what an amazing feat or amazing process to have people that are walking along with me in this journey. Oxytocin. Connection. So limitless living says, hey, this vehicle is what's taking me on my health journey. So I'm not shedding it. It's not a temporary thing. It is the thing that I'm working on. It is the thing that I'm using. It is the thing that is carrying me. And remember what we say, that we are taking charge of our health and our life. And I think I parsed that for some of you one time. So listen to the words. We educate, we empower, and we encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. So it's not just, hey, I'm looking at my health, but it's everything else. Take charge of health and life, avoid complications. So there is a progression. I'm taking charge of health and life. When I do that, I avoid complications. And I'm creating the life we wanted. Right? That's the end of the statement. But before then, there's a piece. Right? Educate, empower, encourage, taking charge of health and life, avoid complications, go to the next level. I want you to see that progression. Because that says right there that it is a work in progress. Whatever level I'm on, I'm fasting for 2 hours. Now I'm going to go to level 2. I'm going to fast for 4 hours. Then I'm going to go to level 3. I'm going to fast for 6 hours. Go to level 4. I'm going to fast for 8 hours. Notice, I'm going to the next level. If I'm fasting for 24 hours and I want to have improvement in my metabolism, then I'm taking that up. But we don't create the life we wanted without getting through the path. And the path, the journey, is amazing with people, with community. Oxytocin. I want you to document what you are doing. Get a journal. If you're not journaling, start journaling right now. When you get off, when you finish listening to this, if you're watching this on the replay, go down to your store. If you want a fancy journal, go down to your fancy bookstore and get one. If you just want something to write, which is fine, go down to the little the school supply store and get one of those spiral notebooks. Whatever journal you're going to use it. I've got my digital journal, actually it's up right now, where I put all my stuff. It's called Notion, by the way. I think I've shared that with you guys before, right? So I've got Notion up. And so when I do things, when I'm talking, I got it here. And you guys hear me, sometimes I joke that I've got to go find a piece of paper. But it's right here. It's right here. So begin journaling, because what you're doing is you're creating that manual for yourself. You're creating an experience so that you can share with other people. When people say to you, hey, how did you do it? How did it go? Boom, here it is. I can share that. I can go back and I can look at it. And then, when we're talking about how we're going to do this, and then I want you got your person, that's going to be your buddy. You understood that this is a work in progress. You guys are moving together. You're planning things together. We're going to break the fast together. Now I'm documenting and I'm journaling. And then I want you to reach your hand out to someone else and help them along their journey. Because it's not just about, okay, I'm fasting. It's, okay, how do we, remember, how many people did I say on the planet? Over 1 billion people with diabetes or prediabetes. And how do we improve the community? We improve the community by saying, come on, let me show you something. I've been doing this. Hey, let's do this together. You can do that. So that's my challenge for you. We're fasting. Let's fast better. We're getting improvement. Let's supercharge the improvement. We're seeing results. Our weight's going down. Our blood sugars are better. We're off of medications. Now, let's infuse some oxytocin in there. And let's see how we can help other people around us become better as they also are using this. Because you guys have been on the limitless living pathway. You guys hear me say it over and over and over. Some of you, it's ingrained in you now. It's become a part of your fiber. It is who you see yourself as. You guys keep joking, or somebody keeps joking about the Wood gang, right? I want you guys to be the limitless living gang. And people look at you, they be like, man, Cornelia, look what you've been doing. And not just in how we look physically, but they're like, man, I like how you think. Steve, when people run into you, they're like, hey, what's different about you? Well, I'm living a limitless life. Pam, when they see you on your trips, like, man, what is about this gal right here? Gion, when you're taking your space, when you're in your space, man, they're like, something's different. Why? Because I'm living a limitless life. And nothing outside of me, nothing inside of me is going to prevent me from doing what I need to do. All of that comes when we can infuse some oxytocin in there. Come on now, get that oxytocin in there. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. So that is our pathway. That is that's fasting. That's fasting infused with community. That's fasting supercharged by connection. That's fasting that is pushed forward by oxytocin and all the things that happen and all the downstream things from oxytocin. Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at blood sugars. I want you to see what's been happening with my blood sugar over the last several. Let's take a look. Let's use this scene right here. All right, so you'll see there, so my blood sugar average is 108. 103. That's what it is. This is for the last 2 weeks. I am in target 92% of the time. And that's a target between 70 and 180. And if I were to get an A1C right now, it would approximate 5.8. This is based on the last 2 weeks. Now, if I go back, you guys will remember, and I'm going to go back 90 days. Let's go ahead and pop this up here. Let's go back 90 days. And you see that estimated A1C, or the GMI, is 6.7. You'll recall that over the last 2 months, really, because I got sick. So I had COVID. So Christmas Day was when I was diagnosed. And so it took me about a good 2 months. So from December, January, February, and if you guys recall, it wasn't until sometime in the early part of this month, end of last month, early part of this month, where my blood sugars started looking better, because they were about 20 to 30 points higher than they were before. And so that's what you see reflected there in that 6.7. And then, of course, as we've come closer or beyond that, as my body has healed and the inflammation in my body has gone down, then my blood sugars have improved. And so that's what you're seeing there. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to hop over and take a look at my daily graphs. And so here we are at, so we were 48 hours over here when we first went live. And so we're a little over 48 hours now. And you'll see the blood sugars have been in the low 100s, 90s. This is the period where I had to change my monitor. And earlier in the morning it was in the 70s, 80s. So let me go back here. So here is 48 hours. Here is 24 hours. Here is 0 hours, right? So this is where I finished eating when we started on Tuesday. So finish eating here, and when I finished eating, you'll see that's that spike that you saw here as my last meal for the day, or for that time, and then the fast. So look at that. So let's say I stopped eating here, right? So this is 0 hours. So 8 over here. So started 0 hours. So the first 6 hours, and we will go through this again when we do our check-in tomorrow, as we review the full fasting, right? Starting a fast, getting through a fast, and also ending a fast. Those first 6 hours, those are called the postprandial hours, or postprandial period. And you'll see there, so from 9 o'clock, right, so the next 3 hours, right, 158. And then if I take this, let's do a 6 hour or 3 hours from here. So that's midnight. So that will put me down at 3 o'clock, right? So right around here. So I want you to notice that, so the first postprandial period, if I go from here, from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, so that's 6 hours, and that's what we say, postprandial period, then my blood sugar started out at 118. I ate, it went up to about 180. I think that's the highest that it got. Yeah. So 180. And then by 6 hours, right, the postprandial period, then now we're down to 90. And so postprandial period, if I go from 3 to 9 again, right, next 6 hours, and that's what we term the fasting period. Notice what happened is that my blood sugar went down, and my body is saying, okay, the blood sugar is going down. I need to go get some of the stores, and look at what happens. So my blood sugar goes back up, and then at 9 hours, or 9 o'clock, so now we are 12 hours in, and so the blood sugar starts to drop. Look at that. And I think I'll do this again tomorrow. I think this is a good example so that you guys get to see, because when I talk about those numbers and the times, it sometimes it's theoretical, but if you can see it here on my graph, you can see what's going on with my blood sugar over that time. And so now we've gone from 24 hours, which is where we usually stop, and we're into the 48-hour period. Okay, so that's a good illustration. I don't think I've done that before, but we'll do that, and we'll walk through my numbers as I talk about the breaks, right? Those different components of time. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go back over and let's see what comments do we have. So Cornelia was saying that point 1 doesn't seem right. Yes, I agree. Steve says, I've been watching my GKI trying to stay in ketosis and autophagy. Very good. And for those of you who, let me pull up so you can see what Steve is talking about. So here is my Keto Mojo monitor, and you'll see down below. So here's my blood sugar. The blood sugar is the 75 and the 0.6, which is what my numbers were last night. And the GKI is that big number that's there, that 6.9. And that is the glucose or glucoketo index. And it's simply taking the glucose and dividing it by ketones. Now, there's a correction that you have to do because this is in international numbers. And so the glucose, you have to divide that by 20. Right? And that gives you a number, and then you divide that number by the 0.6. So let's see, 75. So let me do this. Let's see, what if can I do this on my phone? Okay, just want to make sure there's nothing crazy on my phone. There we go. All right, here we go. Let's go back here. Okay, so if I take 7, so I want my calculator, by the way. So if I take 75, get rid of that. So if I take 75 divided by 20, right, is that divided by 0.6? I get a 6.9. Well, actually, it's 6.25. Actually, let me do this. So 75 divided by 18 divided by 0.6. There you go. Sorry. 18. So that said 20, but 18. I usually round in my head. So the blood sugar divided by 18 divided by the ketones gives us what that number is, the GKI. And the GKI, for instance, we want glucose to be low because we're fasting. We want ketones to be high because we're fasting. And we want the GKI, which is the ratio of those two, to be as low as possible. So I'm trying, let me see if I can go back and find, let's see. I'm going to go back and see if I can find an old GKI. That was. Okay, here's one. Okay, so this guy right here. So my glucose was 65. My ketones were 2.5. So if I go over and 65 and 2.5. So if I do 65 divided by 18 divided by 2.5, that gives me a low GKI. And so I want that number to be as low as possible. Okay, All right, let's get back over here. All right, so that's our blood sugar, GKI. Okay, we were looking at comments. Pam says, watch out now. I was telling your business, right, Pam? Cornelia says, that's cool, Steve. Yes, it is. Cornelia says, yes, Pam. Pam laughed. Steve said, it helps that Beth and I both fast. We usually eat meals together, but sometimes one of us may do longer fasts. Yes. So yes. So the connection, great. I love that. So remember, we are all about connection, all about that oxytocin. Steve says hot wings tonight. Oh, Steve, man. So I've got another. Let's see, I got another 24 hours to go. That's okay. So earlier this week, I did some jerk chicken. So I have that out there. So by the way, yeah. So I said if you have something that you want me to eat to break my fast tomorrow, go ahead and drop it in the comments. So I don't have hot wings, but I have jerk wings. Cornelia said that sounds cool. I like the idea. I like it. Limitless Living Gang. Limitless Living Gang. Let me see. Let me copy that. Limitless Living Gang. Julian says, love you, Wood Gang. Fasting is so amazing thing, which I have to practice to get that. Yes. Cornelia, how often do you measure your blood? Okay, so mainly my fasting blood sugar in the morning. While fasting, I check in the morning and before bed. Okay, yeah. So for everyone, I tell people that the checking, make checking a part of the process, right? So you may check once a day, twice a day, whatever it is. Make sure that you are being consistent so that you can begin seeing patterns. So it's not necessarily that you have to check all the time, but just for your process, whatever it's going to be, make sure that you are you have a process that you're going to go through. I love the fact that this monitor I got on, I put it on, I slap it on, it gives me numbers. I'm good, right? So all right, let's see. So we've got that, and I think. Yep, I think that was it. So yeah, so we were looking at ketones. So ketones, GKI. Thank you, Steve, by the way, for putting that in there. That really does. It's a good conversation to have. I don't think we've had that conversation about the GKI. For those of you who are out there on Instagram, I'm hoping that you are seeing, because it looks like I'm stuck on Instagram, but hopefully you're seeing and it's moving. Somebody let me know. Okay. All right. Let's see. So community. If you are not in community, if you are not having someone who's walking along with you, make sure that you are doing that. That's my challenge for you, to make sure that you are walking through that process, that you get that oxytocin. On our channel, we've been doing the 100-Day Walk to Consistency. That series is getting down to the last stretches of that, so make sure that you get over there and join us as we are transitioning into some other things coming up as that series ends. Make sure you join us tomorrow for our check-in, where we do a complete review of fasting. On Saturday, we will have the video from the vault, and then on Sunday, This Week in Review. And of course, we're back here for Dwain Woode MD Live. If you've not been in our community, make sure you join us. We had a great conversation today. We did some coaching. I think that was very beneficial to some of our community members. So come on and join us. Everything that we do here is with the intention and with the understanding that we are educating, we're empowering, and we're encouraging. That's our triple E formula for success. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcast. We empower with the tools that we're learning, and we encourage with the community that we are building. So make sure that you join us as we're moving through this space. If you are joining us, right, and one of the challenges that we had as we were going through this process is to let us know what's going on. Join in the conversation. Let us know what you're fasting, if you're not fasting, if you are losing weight, if you're not losing weight. Oh, by the way, that was the one thing I wanted to do, was to show you where my, I don't think I did that. So that's my weight as of this evening, just as we were about to come on the show. Okay, so it is a process. It is working, right? You guys see that, and so a year ago, I think March the 3rd we were at 188, and we came into March this year, I think it was 190. Right? So I'm trying to maintain. There are some things I'm doing, right? Some body things that I'm working on, right? Before I should push that number a little lower, I want to do some things, right? Some toning, some chipping, some cutting. You guys get the idea. And we will be looking at some of that as we move into the rest of the season. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, the blogs, the podcasts. We encourage, we empower with the tools that we're doing, and then we encourage with the community that you are a part of. Always excited to be in this space with you. Love to see this community and what you are doing. Thank you for joining me. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are living limitless lives, which says that we're not allowing anything from outside or inside of us to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful. We're presenting our best health, our best selves, and our best plans for our life. And we're breaking free from those boundaries. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you at our check-in. We'll see you at one of our other episodes. Good night, everybody.